Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a very nice looking rack. It looks jolly close to a bingo, but do I have one? Nothing has jumped to mind, but I certainly wouldn't want to overlook a high probability bingo. Well, I'm not seeing anything, and the question is, to what extent do I break up the rack? I think I'll try and preserve it. I could play Henna, keeping IS for a bigger score, but I think this 4-letter rack leave is good, and Na provides fewer opportunities for opponent. Just pausing in case I'm overlooking a bingo here. This will be painful if I am, but it hasn't come to mind. Wow, what a pickup. Super bingo-y rack, and I have the blank. Surely I am bingoing now. Na doesn't take an S at the end, it takes nothing before or after it. But I'm still optimistic of getting a bingo down. This rack will go well with pretty much any floater, and there are 7-letter lanes on the board, and it would be hard for my opponent to take out all of those. Probably the best he could do in that regard would be to play something like Vax, but even then I think I would have something. I would have Veranes in row G. So what if opponent doesn't change, 29 points, I'm immediately drawn to column 11, a double-double. That would require an S or an L in third spot, so blank as an L. Not seeing anything. To what extent do I look for the S in third place? It doesn't feel great. I do have rinsers, just as a bingo for my back pocket. And what about a play in row I? Well, I think column 11 is going to score more, so I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to have a quick look through the alphabet. See if I can see something with an S in precisely third place. So that's Snaria. I'm not optimistic about this. Resina. Resina. For 88. Yes, fantastic. I did have a scintilla of doubt about that, as I do with a lot of agent nouns. That's referring to ER at the end of words. And pretty good pickup. Could well have a back-to-back bingo here. Moorage as a 7. Wow, that plays in row I. Gosh, that would be fantastic. Again, I have a slight doubt, but it's just my way. I just do have slight doubts about a huge number of words. But it's a good feeling when a word stays on the board. So what if moorage is blocked, or heaven forfend isn't good? Resina only takes an S at the end. That doesn't work. So the floaters are R. Does that assist? No. I've got gram as a component part of a word. That doesn't help. How about an E? Well, that doesn't help either. So it's moorage or nothing in the bingo stakes. And wow, that stays available. Fantastic. A couple of new bingos to consider. T and I. Moorage does open up column 1, but I can live with that. And there's definitely nowhere else to play it. Moorage 65. Well, the bingo run ends, but I have a 100-point lead. From a W, I would have WACF. Always nice to get rid of Q and F. They go particularly badly together. Now, what about the Eye of Yeti for the Q? Well, the best I can do there is Chi or Chin. And I'm minded to do something about F, C, and K and deal with the Q on a subsequent move. So I have Fek, I have Kenaf. Anywhere great for those. I'm not really focusing on the M at the moment. I'm expecting opponent to go there. Fek would play in column 12. I think it takes an S. But I have a good lead and the board's wide open. So I'm less precious about creating openings. Yeti only takes an S at the end. Well, I could play Fake, getting the K doubled. That takes out the Q spot. Wow, great bingo by opponent, 70 points. He does leave this M alone. I'm not sure that's particularly helpful for me. I have a nice spot for Fek with an S. It obstructs the M, it gets rid of everything, and this is quite a nice Q leave onto a T. I would have Cat. If I draw a T, I have Canat in row G. I've already got QI with the Eye of Yeti. 36 points, pretty good. Can I do any better? I've got the man and men ending. No. I do want to get rid of a bunch of these high-scoring tiles, preferably all of them. And this works. Well, quite a few duplicates here. Onto a K, I would have Capique. K not in the right spot. I do have an I, so I can play Chin and Chi for a big score. And the triple word squares in column 1, still a distraction for opponent. I have an 80-point lead, which isn't huge. Opponent's bingo last turn, closing the gap on me. But Chin's going to be a nice score. The only danger being a triple-triple. I can certainly survive a bingo. Now, what other options are there? Anywhere else for Chin? Well, I have Chi and AI for over 30 points, keeping both sets of duplicates. That would be a pain. Onto a C, I would have Sank. No C's played yet. So, what else is available? Are there any Q plays I've overlooked? I certainly can't do anything with M or F and the Q. And no U's have been played. Gosh. If a U did slip out into the open, I could play Quiner, sorting out the duplicates. That's unlikely to happen with or impossible to happen with a column 1 play. Yeah, well, that's nice for opponent, getting rid of V and U. Fortunately, only 27 points. And this is slightly concerning. Opponent has played the S for 3 points, so he's probably got the last S or a blank, and I would say it's more likely he's got the last S. And there's a slight possibility he's just got a ton of consonants, but I think I discount that. So that increases my concern. If he's got an S or a blank, obviously the chances of him tripling are greater. However, I am not turning down 43 points. Pretty good. On through an I would have Partisan. No I currently available, but 5 to be played. And it's good to have the Z. I don't have any IZ plays. Nothing using the Z coming down from the F. I have Tarzan on my rack, turning over tiles, increasing my chances of drawing the final blank. That plays in column 4 and column 6, but not for a huge score. So what if opponent leaves this N alone? Do I have a Z play? And I'm not sure I do. No, through an E I would have Patzer. And whereas before I left the Q on my rack for a turn, I don't think that's the right thing to do with the Z. A play of Zap would leave a decent rack leave. Tarzan would leave just a P, whereas Zap would leave Rant, and Rant is a pretty good 4-letter set. I have Tsar in column 3. 30 points. Always nice to tip over into the 30s from the 20s. It feels like half a bingo. And the rack leave of Pant is quite good, a lot better than just a P. Yes is good. I have Zap in column 12. Well, that's the best spot I've considered, and that may stay available. And Yes doesn't take an S, so I would not be creating any bingo lanes. 12 minutes on opponent's clock, 15 on mine. Just over half the bag has been played, and I have a 90-point lead. Great. Opponent takes out that dangerous lane with a sub 30 score. No new spots for the Z. So Zap for 46. And a rack slightly reminiscent of my opening rack with duplicate N. There are bingos with duplicate N, but it tends to be a bit of a bingo killer when you have them on your rack, because there aren't many double N bingos, and I suspect a lot of them end ing. Well, no floating G's available. In fact, very few floaters at all. Opponent changes. Wow, what sort of horror show did he have? What might I be drawing? Well, remaining tiles actually looking pretty bingo-y, but possibly he had an excess of vowels. That is possible. Now, what about this floating O? Does that assist, or possibly a 9-letter play through O and C? Tricky to spot. Not seeing anything with the O. Are there any other floaters I need to consider? Well, there's the R. That doesn't look useful. Okay, so how to sort this rack out? I guess I need to score. Split up the duplicate N. And the H likely to be the useful scoring tile. Now, is Hey N good? I get confused between Hey N and Gay N. But if this is good, I think it's a decent play. And it is good. Fantastic. And look at this rack. All bingo-y tiles, no duplicates, and balanced in terms of vowels and consonants. Wow! Amazing bingo by opponent. But it's fine for me because I can come straight back with cilantro or contrail. Is there a third anagram which may be a triple, and I would say there isn't, and the reason for that is I think I've had this set before, and I think it's when you have an S that you have cilantros, contrails, and triclosan. So the third anagram only arises with the plural. So I can play this fairly shortly. It's just a matter of playing cilantro or contrail. I think contrail probably better. No vowels next to premium squares. And I draw the final blank. Amazing. Do I have a bingo? Only one vowel. Quite a few vowels to come. Let me check the vowels. 16 out of 29. So, yeah, quite vowel heavy. Nice score for opponent. I lead by 120 and I have the blank. I think a bingo now would seal the deal. But do I have one? Well, I think I'm looking for floating vowels. And there's the I and O of citrus. There's the O of moorage. Not feeling good about this. I think I would have begalled through an A, but there are no floating A's. This E of resonant, not a floater, as in a bingo floater. So, 12 minutes on my clock. I. No space for an ibble ending. What about O? And I think the problem here is I'm struggling to see what sort of suffix would work with an O. No, I'm not seeing a play, so let me sort this rack out. And that means splitting up the L, playing off the B. In fact, there's very little worth hanging on to here. Where can I score the most? And I can't play parallel to citrus. And I would consider that if I could, because I'm so far ahead, I don't need to open or preserve bingo lanes, and opponent could bingo with the remaining tiles. Is there really nothing through an O? I have ball as a prefix, or a component part, with deg. No. I could play glob through this O, sorting the rack out. Doesn't feel great. No S's to come for contrails. 10 minutes on my clock, and I'm slowing down. I really haven't seen any good candidate plays. And the bottom of the board is dead. Zap has zapped available lanes for non-bingos as well as bingos. I was thinking about playing bowl to stop opponent placing a tile in front of this O. Only 12 points. Well, and this rack leave isn't good. I don't like keeping D and G. What about globi? That's a nicer rack leave. It also has the... Whoa. I most certainly do not want to play my blank as an O. That's a score in the bottom right, not a tile value. Really am struggling with this rack. And it's the lack of scoring spaces. I think glob, this is a nice rack lead. The score is terrible, but the rack lead is good. I am going with this. So I have smelted in column 14. That has worked out. I surely have something through the tiles in citrus. And wow, I've created a pretty good bingo lane in column 2 because so many vowels go between V and G, and in particular an E does. Smelted in column 14 will open column 15. So what do I have in column 2? Just going to run through the alphabet. This doesn't actually feel a particularly good idea because I think bingos are going to end ED, not in a vowel. Helmeted through an E. That looked close. So how about an O? Nothing. 10 minutes on opponent's clock. That's smelted. Now, what I haven't done is identify a bingo through the T and R if smelted is... smelted is not blocked. Unbelievable. It still plays. And it's enhanced by opponent's play. Smelted for 93 points. Bang! Fantastic. And I draw the X. I'm now over 500 points, 7 tiles in the bag, and I lead by over 200 points. What can I do with this X? Well, right now I can play Woks in column 15. What else is available? Opponent is likely to go in that spot. Wow, I nearly missed Smelted. I saw that it wouldn't go one square lower. But of course it played in the spot I originally identified. Bingo by opponent, 61 points. Bag is empty. So, I do have Woks in column 15. Let me see what that scores and then take it back. So, Woks for 47. What else is available? And what I've noticed is that the X can go next to the E. So, do I have anything, regardless of whether it uses the W, which gets the X next to the E? No, not which reaches the triple word square. I can see OXO. So, Woks looks good, but the bag is empty, so I'm not going to go out in 2 with that. Is that important? Wow, opponent's got quite a nice final 7 tiles. I think I need to play in column 15, otherwise opponent will. Let me see what Owie scores. That's 31. Do I then have an out with AXO? Ax onto an N? Nothing through the T. Okay, 7 minutes on my clock. The game is won. I have a good lead. What about playing OXO? 33 points. Can I now go out with AEIW? Well, Torty, possibly. Wait, neither works. And all these vowels which go between V and G, and I just can't put together a move which uses that. If I could play AEIW, then I'd have 2 spots for OXO, column 15, and column 2, both for about 30 points. So is there really nowhere for AEIW? What about this R? Not seeing anything. Let me put this back. AEIW. Tricky rack, and these are the sorts of positions where you can lose a ton of points if there is an out in 2 and you overlook it. That's quite often 20 or 30 points you've just thrown away. So, Woks leaves 4 vowels. I also have wax and wex, leaving a different set of 4 vowels. So, do any of those work? Through an R, I would have uri and wax. No, not seeing anything. Okay, I'm just going to play this. Am I? Yes, I don't want opponent to play there. Woks for 47. Now, I can't go out in 1, I don't think. But I'll be able to score something. Does opponent have a bingo in column 2, ending in E. I don't think furable is good, but I didn't exhaustively examine his rack. Now, is OT good? I don't think it is, but sometimes these new words slip in under the radar. Nope, I think that may be ending in a Y. Who knows? Lud takes an O. I have iota in column 4. What about, well, playing through a vowel with 4 vowels? Hardly likely to be optimal. Oh yes is good, but that would just be a single play. It's Ohio rather than the state of Ohio. Now, I have Vi and Ch. That's quite nice. 20 points. I wasn't expecting to score that much. I don't think that can be made any better, but it's a nice spot. Opponent will be concentrating on playing off his F and B. He has 8 minutes. And he may well be drawn to this O. Actually, that's another bingo lane, which he could have a bingo through, but I don't think he does. Now, EW takes an E in front. Do takes an A in front. So I have EA in this spot. 14 points. Better than nothing. Can't see anything good through this L. Opponent has been playing reasonably quickly during the first part of the game, but really slowed down now on his final rack. And I'm not surprised it's not an easy rack to deal with. I think you can fairly quickly identify bingos, but it's the non-bingo plays which are tricky, and that's a good play by opponent, good score, getting rid of both of his high-scoring tiles, and B and F do lack synergy. So what am I going to do? I've not seen anything better than... Though, is opponent going out with AR? He's got par, he's got rat, so he is. So opponent has 6 minutes to decide where to play AR. Be interesting to see if though was the best at the end there. Certainly opponent didn't create any new opportunities for me to play off all of my tiles. And opponent plays air for 10. And the final score, 383 for my opponent, 576 for me, a winning margin of 193 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. That was amazing, nearly 600 points. So it was me to go fast. Phew, no missed bingo here. Henna I was thinking about for 24. And I play Na for 12, 12 fewer points. So how do the rack leaves of Sign and IS compare? IS is nice, probably worth about 10 points. But Sign is very nice, probably worth close to 20 points, maybe a bit less, between 15 and 20. So I suspect the rack leave difference is slightly less than 10 points, and there's a 12-point difference in score. But Henna is 2 extra tiles, so using the 2-pointer tile rule, that's another 4-point adjustment. And Henna also provides more scoring opportunities for opponents, so I'm happy with my play. Opponent's rack plays Jiao. And now, wow, well, there were several. Insurer, Resina, and Rosina were all the double doubles available. Opponent's rack. Plays Yeti. Now there it is, moorage for 65, the only bingo. And that put me in a strong position, but opponent comes right back with a bingo of his own, agatized. And now my lead has shrunk to just 30 odd points. So there was a Kenaf play, K4. Oh wow, that's nice, getting the F doubled. What do I do? Fex for 36, 11 fewer points. Well, I think AN go better with Q than C. And Fex does disrupt column 1, but I suspect Kenaf still a slightly better play. Opponent's rack, and he does have duplicate S when he plays Vums. Now, my lead, just 50. And I get rid of the Q down here. And wow, I was worried that opponent might have a triple-triple, given that he probably had an S on his rack, but he's a million miles away from that. Plays Pine. Now I have Zap for 46 and a decent rack cleave and a decent lead. Opponent with no vowels at all. And look at this, there are a ton of vowels in the bag, but none on opponent's rack. And opponent changes. So I think I actually thought that maybe opponent had 7 vowels. It didn't occur to me that he would have 7 consonants, but he did. Now, another duplicate N rack for me. M3 Hey N, that was my play. And here we go. Opponent has citrus, could have played cursitor through the R. This works really well for me because I have cilantro and contrail. And those are the only 2 bingos, nothing through any of the other floaters. Wow. And my lead now 160 points. Opponent plays 5. And here we go. Do I have a bingo? No, I don't. E4 globed. Oh wow, I wonder why I didn't consider that. That's pretty good. Maybe I wanted to hang on to my solitary vowel. Yeah, so I played glob for 9. I think globed would have been better. Opponent's rack. Plays Lud. And here we go, smelted for 93, fantastic. So what else was available? Well, look at this, absolutely everything was in column 14, nothing in column 2 or column 4. Wow, nice rack for opponent. And well, I was going to say a missed bingo, but he didn't miss it, he played it. So opponent gets 61 points, he empties the bag, and this was my rack. Waxia D1. Oh wow, that's pretty good, because it's 46 points and I am going to go out with 00, and this is a scenario I pointed out that if there is an out in 2, it's likely to be a lot better than if you miss it and don't have an out in 2. So I play Wox for 47. Opponent plays Bifoul. And I don't have an out. N3. Aid for 26 points. Ouch. And I play Vo for 20, which was the next best. But it's still a few points left on the table. And Waxia left a ton of points on the table. And opponent gets 13 for air, plus 4 on countback, which he wouldn't have got with an out in 2 on my part. So that was the end of the game. Absolutely thrilling game, super exciting, pushing the 600 barrier. Absolutely tremendous fun when you're free scoring and free playing like what I did in this game. So absolutely amazing fun, action spreading out to all 4 corners of the board. Many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.